Emma here, and we can see her timesheet for the week. So as I said, she clocked in perfectly on time on Monday and perfectly on Friday. And you can see that the system has automatically approved those 2 days for me. So I don't need to do any reconciliation there. The first problem here, as we can see, is at 11 minutes past, she clocked in 11 minutes late on the 26th. So again, we can set it up so that, you know, there's a certain threshold that automatically clocks in, give or take 5 minutes. So, you know, if it's 5 minutes late or 5 minutes early, we can automatically approve that. But this was outside our default allocation time, so it needs to be reconciled. In this case, I'm just going to say 11 minutes. I'm not going to worry too much about that. So I'm just going to approve it and say, look, that's fine. So to do that, we just click the little drop down arrow here and click approve hours. And I'm just going to say that the clock in was on time, and notes, and I'm not even going to write a note. I'm just going to say that this one's fine. This one is fine. Okay. And the clock out, I'm just going to say it was on time as well, and just save it. So that one's now saved and approved. So the next one that I'm going to reconcile is on the 27th. So this one is, this is the user has clocked in 30 minutes over the time. So that's a bit further out than I sort of want to forgive in this case. So I actually want to add a deduction here of 30 minutes from her timesheet. So to do that, I'm going to click on this and I'm going to say add an adjustment instead of approve. I'm going to say, okay, this clock in was under time, and it's automatically picked up that they were 30 minutes late. And I'm going to select the type, and I'm just going to say unpaid. So this type I'm picking now is just a sort of a leave type. So just your basic leave type. It has no bearing on payroll or anything. It's just a basic leave type, and I'll show you when payroll comes in down the track. So I'm just going to say this was under time. I'm going to say it's unpaid, and I'll say the clock out event for this one was fine. So I'll say the clock out was fine for that, and just hit save. So that will have approved the shift and added a little deduction. So we can see here the deduction is minus 0.5. So if I go up and just select my little subtotals on, you can see there's 8 hours for that one, 8 hours for that one, and it's deducted down to 7.5 hours for this one. It's taken off my unpaid hours there of 30 minutes because I arrived 30 minutes late. For the next one then, I'm going to amend it. And this one, the shift was from 9 to 5:30, and the person has clocked in at 9, but didn't clock out to 6, so they worked an extra 30 minutes. So I'm going to say that's an extra 30 minutes overtime. So to do that, I'll click here and I'll add an adjustment again. This time I'm going to say the clock in was on time, but the clock out was overtime. And again, it's picked up the time that it was over, and I'm going to say this was overtime. This type of overtime, that just denotes the type of the HR type that is relevant to that work. And I'll just say instead 30 minutes extra to make up time. Okay, and save that. And shift approved, and the adjustment has been added. So if we look here now, then we've now got 8.5 hours in for this one. So they've made up the 0.5 hour to bring up their week to the total of 40 hours again. So now we've got total hours worked back up to 40, and this timesheet is approved, or can be approved. So now that we've made these adjustments, what you can do is you can export this timesheet, and if I click it and export it, it will just pull up the timesheet with the hours worked and any adjustments and stuff that are in there as well. So just a basic export. And you can also do an export for payroll. Before we do the export for payroll, I will just show you what we can do now. So now that we've got this little line here for the amendment, so this is outside the employee's normal standard hours. Typically, then this needs to be flagged to payroll, and payroll need to quantify these hours as either unpaid or paid, or double time or extra time, before it can be imported into a payroll system. So to do that classification, payroll, before they export for payroll, your payroll manager can come in here and tag this extra hour with a payroll status. Okay, so I'll just show you how that gets set up. So we've seen at the start of the video how we've assigned this extra privilege to this user by going to the permissions and saying that they have the payroll permission. So now I will just show you, if they come into payroll categories here, this is where you can set up all your different payroll categories. So here's a few examples of payroll categories. You could have time, double time, paid. So that's the rate of that is time and a bit. You could have doctor's appointment unpaid, and the rate is just normal, and it's a deduction. So if I just open this one, for example, so to fill out a new payroll category, you simply enter in a key, a display name, an external reference, which could be the reference from your Sage payroll system. So as long as all of these payroll categories match up with the payroll categories in your actual payroll system, such as Sage, then your export will all match up perfectly. So again, so that's your external reference, which relates to your third-party payroll system. A rate is just the rate that it's paid at. Like I said, you could have double time, which the rate is 2, normal time is 1. You have even time and a quarter here, time and a quarter paid, which as you can see is 1.25. Late arrival unpaid, and whether it's a deduction or an addition, or in fact it carries no weight at all. So that's how you can set up a payroll category. So payroll categories are different from the other categories, such as your HR or leave categories, as we call them, which are initially assigned. A leave manager typically manages your leave categories, and a payroll manager will manage your payroll categories. So if I come back into time and attendance now, I'll assign some payroll categories before export. So I'll come back down to Emma here, and you can see it's telling me that I need to assign some payroll categories of this. So this first one is going to be unpaid, 30 minutes. So the payroll category that I'm going to assign to that one is late arrival, unpaid. There we go, number of hours, 0.5. And just hit that, and let's just save that in. So that's now saved, and this one is approved. And the next one then, I'm going to say this is overtime, just basic overtime, not double time. So let's see, not double time, just normal overtime, and it's going to be paid, and I'll save that one in. So now my timesheet's fully complete, and yeah, that's ready for export for payroll. To do that, we just simply click this. This export for payroll actually exports all of your employees at the one go, not just at the minute I only have the employees a timesheet for them, but it will actually export the full payroll from all of your employees, so you don't have to do it individually. Once you click it, it pulls up this window just to generate the report. This is the week that I want to generate it for, but I can change that if I need to. I can also filter down by region, but I'm not going to. And then we've got our normal payroll export and our Sage payroll element. Sage payroll element, we don't really need to worry too much about. That's just something that Sage, in some circumstances, needs to be uploaded first to Sage before you upload the actual payroll report. But this is the main payroll report. So if I just run it and download it and open it, and there we can see there's everything. There's my employee reference, 1001 is this employee number. Here's the hours working through. So we took off 0.5 hours for being late. We had 0.5 hours added on for the overtime, and the 40 hours, that is the total that they have worked. So that's their payment, all their payroll reference stuff ready to go and be imported into payroll. And yeah, that's pretty much how time and attendance works. So it's very easy to reconcile a full week's worth of shifts for all of your employees based off their clock-in events. And it accommodates both tagging your HR leave categories, and then also your payroll categories on top of that before you do your import. And that's it.